So we're live. So howdy everybody. So today I have a good guest, a man who just recently graduated from the Corps of Cadets uh, about a year ago, 2 years ago, and then subsequently he's finished his Marine Corps infantry officer training, stationed in 29 Palms. Yes.
Yeah, the Marine Corps Command Center, 29 Palm. Yes, sir.
Okay, there we go. All right. So so what I have for you is Peter, also known Travis Force, right? And so kind of introduce yourself there, Travis, and tell the folks who may not know you a little bit about your background, what brought you to Texas A&M University.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess we can definitely take a trip back to the year. I think it was like 2013, 2014. My older brother,
Okay.
when he was in the Corps, actually, no, I'm sorry, 2010. 2010 in the fall.
Okay.
My older brother Jason, who's a major in the Army now, he showed up to FOW to the Corps Cadets, and I remember I came to visit him for at least at the time fish review, right? Definitely will never ever ever forget standing there, watching my brother wearing, the old school white t-shirt, name stenciled on it, jeans, low
Hmm.
quarters, a little the fish hat, getting yelled
Yeah.
at, doing all the things.
The
I
khaki
remember
baseball
saying there,
cap.
yeah, yeah, the tech exactly. I remember saying there, I was kind of just, looking at like, man, like what the hell's going on? And then a senior. I still vividly remember with this. I don't remember his name. I don't really remember what outfit he was in. I want to say he was in a Navy Marine outfit, but he was really just this really really big tall fella. And he's like, "Hey, you want a Jolly Rancher?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay, yeah, sure, man." I mean, I don't really know. I mean, it was 2010. I was so young, so I took it, and he picked me up and he showed me around or whatever. Kind of the quad. Just kind of tell me really what it's like. And I remember leaving Texas A&M that day, and I was like, man, that is that. I don't know really what it was. It just something I guess I kind of wanted to do. Right. Uh, Fast forward to the year 2020 during COVID. I applied to Texas A&M. I didn't get in straight
Right.
away, but I was like, you know what? That's okay. I'm going to figure out a way to get in there. So instead, I spent a semester at the Galveston campus. And
Okay.
I think which was real smart on my part because instead of
Right.
applying to just transfer schools, I just changed my major, which booted me to
Sure.
the main campus. So it's kind of
Right.
for you guys, yeah. So I
And
guess
you
for
and
for folks that
you'd already had your fish year with them, right?
yeah. So it's which I will say. I mean, I will give Galveston credit. They do have a decent program for sure. I mean, especially like if
Right.
you're just right off the street, you don't really know
Hmm.
your face from your ass. Pardon my French. I think they definitely kind of helped me kind of get a pretty good foundation and especially
Sure.
prepare me for College Station. So I remember spent that semester,
Smaller
did the whole
program. Smaller
yeah.
program.
Oh yeah, very very small.
Real tight guys.
I think they maybe had 500 cadets in the whole program when I
Right.
was there. I
But I
mean,
mean, they're
that's
real tight though. Yeah.
oh yeah. I mean, what's interesting is so most of those guys that go there, a lot of them don't commission in the military. A lot of them actually become merchant mariners, or they go work in the private sector. On the bigger ships. They travel the world. Make some pretty decent money. Doing that stuff.
Right, because they're really a Navy base
Yeah,
program, right?
yeah, I mean, a lot of those guys that went military route, they were Coast Guard or Navy guys, and then I think there
Right,
was the
right.
one or two token Marine guys, that I still talk to from time to time because they definitely helped me
Sure.
mentor me and get me prepared for what was to come.
And they still do a lot of the same campusology, core brass, all that kind of stuff. Like,
I gotta say, man, from what I remember, so I know Fisher and the Corps at A&M, like in College Station, we had like the cadence, like the fish cadence. We
right.
we we had something very very similar. I think it's called Rules of the Road. It's basically
Okay,
it was all just like basic, very very basic, like seamanship knowledge.
right,
Memorize.
sure.
So same principle. It's just different. General
But
knowledge. If that makes
an
any sense.
inculcation of you're Galveston, you're an
Yeah.
Aggie, you're in this program, so on and so forth.
Correct.
So yeah,
Yep. Absolutely, Sergeant Major. Yeah, 100%.
yeah. You know what they call that in the Army? They call it the Blue Book.
Oh, yeah, well, that's. I mean, it quite literally was It's basically what it was, man. I mean, it was a blue. Like it almost it
Right,
kind of
right.
looked like a Ranger handbook, right? Just blue.
Hmm.
You just
Sure,
flip
sure.
up, you study your
But I mean,
knowledge,
in the
stuff like that.
Army, the first rules of the road, if you were, the basic standards of discipline and conduct of the
Yeah,
Continental Army, was written by Steuben,
yeah,
Baron Friedrich de Steuben.
yeah.
Yeah, it was the first manuscripts had blue covers, so they just called them the Blue Book. And from that time forward, any unit in the Army that builds a basic outfit standards and with the history and the protocols and the culture and all that kind of bit, and even the Range Regimental Standard, right? The 75th Regimental Standard, the RSOP.
Right. Yeah.
It's called the Blue Book. So
Oh, wow.
any place you go in the Army, some outfit has that. Like the 82nd has their ASOP, right? And they call it the Blue Book
The blue book. Yeah.
because it's,
Okay.
it's your basic rules for how you operate within that organization, within that environment, within that culture. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
But anyway,
Yeah. I've never even
okay.
knew that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um.
yeah. And so the current, not new, but the current SMA is trying to bring back the whole Army going back into a singular kind of blue book for
Right.
everybody. But then you can actually add chapters to it. But the foundational document being identical regardless of what post or what formation you're in. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. I mean, pretty
He's
much very
pushing he's
similar.
pushing that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of sounded like what we've been doing in the Corps cadets as a whole, with the whole, the standard, like the cadence. It's like everyone follows, as you
Yeah.
say, like the standard blue book, right?
Right.
Um, but
Yeah.
uh, what was I gonna say? Yeah, I mean, in terms
Well,
of, I
and
mean,
the Canes, and fun fact, the Canes used to be a maroon color. Used to have a maroon cover on it. I still got one of my sons from old Army. You know why they stopped making them maroon?
what?
Because guys would wash them accidentally, throw them in the washer, right? They would forget it was in their
Oh yeah,
pocket. It would ruin your laundry. Like if they threw it in with their wives or something, everything was
yeah,
pink.
that'd be fucking maroon, right? Yeah, yeah, pink, yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so they decided,
yeah.
let's just put a white cover on it with maroon writing. They're putting tape on them because people started putting tape on them anyway just to keep them from
Well,
falling
yeah,
apart,
yeah. I
putting duct
mean,
tape
I
on
was
them.
gonna say. I mean, I remember. I mean, when I showed up to College Station, I remember I had yellow and red duct tape, on the front and the back, of
Right.
the cadence. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. So, I mean, yeah, man, it was. I mean, I'm looking back. I definitely kind of wish I had one. I guess applied smarter, if that makes sense. I think I kind of wish I would have picked the major I graduated with instead of gone, kind of gone for the horns for engineering.
Right.
Because I get because engineering, is a very Texas A&M is a very good program, very competitive program. Like you need very very good grades, and the program was in high school. I was pursuing the international baccalaureate
Hmm.
default diploma. Those classes are extremely rigorous.
Right.
Obviously, and of course,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
not really the sharpest tool. I'm not really the sharpest tool in the shed. So, of course, I kind of, I finished up with B, C's, a couple A's, but definitely
Sure.
not a competitive enough GPA to get accepted into Maze or into engineering programming of that sorts. But regardless, it's fine. It was a good wake up call to kind of understand, hey, like this is how it works.
That's cool.
Yeah, cool.
So anyway, so you did your freshman year in Galveston and you transferred up here to A&M, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I
And
did my
and then what was so you went to a transfer outfit, D1 or?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Finished my first semester of college at Galveston. Got accepted in December of 2020. Then showed up in the spring of 21 to company
Right.
D1.
Okay.
Honestly, had no idea that transfer office even existed at the time. I thought it was just, I
Right.
remember it was everyone like, the normal, CT outfits. And I had a choice, and I could pick D1, K1, or Squadron 18 at the time.
Yeah. Hmm.
And I
Those are
remember,
three transfer outfits. Yeah.
yeah, and I remember I didn't honestly, I had no idea. And I remember Jerry Peralta on the commandant staff. reached out to me. He's like, hey man, you're going to company D1, and you want to be a Marine, PLC. All right, you're going here. Okay, cool. No clue what I was in for. I mean, I was like, oh, it's probably going to be just like Galveston. It's like, everyone's like chill.
No, no,
Oh, dude.
no,
Let me tell you something. Look, I love Galveston. Like, the people there were great. Okay. But like,
yeah,
when you like, I mean, you probably see it at the march-ins. Like, you
yeah.
see our cadets, like, they're very squared away. They're physically fit. It's like dress and appearance. And then you look at Galveston, and you're like, oh, like, got it, right? It's like it's a very clear like night and day difference.
They're not even
Just
marching, man. They're walking. They just walk.
man. And so I remember my
walking.
first day I checked in to company D1. It was actually snowing. It was a snowstorm that day. I still have
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I remember that. And I remember when I first walked into Duncan, I saw Master Anderson, I saw Lieutenant Colonel Washington, and at the time you guys were still wearing camis, right? But you guys transitioned to wearing, more relaxed, casual Fridays, if you will, right? Except for y'all, it's casual every day.
Yeah. But that might change, by the way.
Yeah,
might end up changing.
I think I would. I don't know. I mean, at the same time, I think some of y'all that have beards, it looks good on you guys. You know what I'm saying? I think you guys should keep it.
I get a beard, dude.
Yeah. So I remember I checked in, and I was, man, like, you ever seen the show like Scared Beyond Straight? Yeah, that was very similar kind of anticipation. I remember like you were yelling at people, Karen Washington's yelling at people. Master was like, everyone was like, all right, hey, hurry up, let's move. I was like, oh my, like what, I was it was something. I'll never forget that day.
Right.
I remember walking outside, it's like snow. I was very, underprepared, didn't really, realize the weather or anything. I was just kind of shut up and kind of, anticipated.
But that wasn't normal weather, that was a freak storm.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
So, so I remember, I checked in, got up to my dorm, and then that's when I met my old lady. He's on RP. He was class 24 as well, but he graduated my junior year, so he frogged up.
Right.
And he graduated with 23. But
yeah.
And I think I remember I was kind of like how it kind of is. It's like the butt sniffing, if you will. Kind of how like dogs do it. Like, hey, like, who are you? Stuff. So
right. Yeah.
Very, very.
Well, storming. You guys are storming, trying to figure out.
Yeah. So very, very quickly within the first day, like, it was very clear to me that RP, like really all my buddies, they were great. We all helped each other out. And that's kind of how the whole semester went. Just throughout, like the fish review, the SOW, the fish review, all these other things, core brass.
So after you did your transfer, the transfer stuff. So where they sign you then?
Yeah. So let's see. So once the year was finished,
I mean, they didn't ask you to be cadre or nothing like that, right? They just said, because I know some in those outfits, they pick some people to stay because they need cadre for the next year, and then some people are like, no, just and then they go to wherever the outfits have shortages.
Yeah. So at the time, the way it worked out was I had put to stay in D1 in my top 3, and and I got D1. Like, hey, you can stay with us. And then, at the time, one of my fish buddies who really wanted to stay more than I did, he didn't get it, and he asked me, like, hey man, would you be okay if like if I took your place or whatever? And I was like, you know what, I don't have a problem with that as long as you talk to the cadre. And yeah, I mean, sure enough, just worked out that way. He ended up staying, and I ended up going to company.
So after you made your deal.
Yeah.
With the guy, then you transfer to N1.
Yeah. So that's the way. So that's the way that the cookie crumbled. He said in D1. I left third reg. Went to company N1. I remember, things were very, very different in N1 than they were in D1. I remember D1's a great outfit. It really, really is. But I think, as transfer outfits they're a lot more intense. They're a lot more compressed. There's a lot of it.
Oh yeah,
a lot of it really is.
You got to do 2 semesters worth of stuff in 1 semester.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, as you say, you know, it's you're basically doing, I guess a workup in a semester versus a year, right? So,
Right. Mhm.
uh, just yeah, I mean, so of course, when I went to N1, everything was very, very slowed down. You know, I mean, it was kind of, it was generally the same principle, I mean, just like every outfit is, but definitely not the same taste, not the same flavor as D1 was, right? I remember
Mhm.
I showed up, and as a sophomore, I did, what I was trained to do in D1, and that was to be, aggressive, attention to detail, all these different things, just basically a very aggressive coach, right? And I gotta say, I think they did an amazing job. Like all my sophomores, my juniors, especially my seniors, class of 21 from D1, I really, really got to give those guys I got to give it to them. I still talk to a lot of those guys, to this day. If it wasn't for them, I definitely would not be where I am right now. They definitely helped build a very, very good foundation. They definitely whipped me up into shape because when I showed up, I was definitely not prepared for Marine Corps. Wasn't prepared physically, just any of that. So I got to give them credit where credit's due. They helped out a
Okay.
lot.
Sure.
Uh, So did my stint in N1. Great again, another great outfit as well. I definitely learned, to kind of dial it back a little bit. Balance between when's the appropriate time to make a correction. When's the appropriate time to play around. Be a goofball. Just basically
Right.
just enjoy college, right? Just like anybody else would.
Hmm. Sure.
Uh, and then again, I'll give credit's due. And N1 great outfit, but it just I don't know. It just I wasn't completely satisfied. I guess I wanted more. I don't know. I felt I was hungry, right? I think just like any ambitious young man is, he's hungry. Like he wants more. So my
Sure.
junior year, I joined Rutter's Rangers. That was I got to tell you that was completely brand new an adventure. I tell you the truth, I mean I don't really even know I guess kind of how it all started, but what do you call it? I started my junior year, and I talked to my old lady, who transferred to G2, and he's like, hey man, he sent me a video of Rudders, doing the ancient quad assault that they once upon a time did, which
No, they did that up until about 2014.
yeah, I think
Then and then they stopped doing it because there's just too much too many people on campus outside looky-loos getting triggered by it, to be
yeah,
honest
yeah,
with you.
and it's. I'll tell you, it is a shame because that is probably the best like recruiting tool for the Corps of Cadets. I mean, hands down. I mean, if you think about it, especially like if you're visiting campus on like family day, on like family weekend, and you see young Rangers, in camis, with blanks, just doing their thing, doing mount operations on the quad. I don't know. I think any ambitious, hungry young man would be like, what, this is a place, like this is the stuff I want to do, right? And I remember at the time, at the end of my sophomore year, I went to officer candidate school, part one PLC juniors in Quantico, Virginia, and that's kind of where I really kind of started thinking about, okay, like what do you want to do in the Marine Corps? Which again, Ed, I like to say every MLS in the Marine Corps is important. Otherwise, the Marine Corps wouldn't have it, because you and I both in the Marine Corps doesn't have the money to waste on stupidities. Everything is there for a reason. And that's when I was like, what? I really want to be an infantryman. I want to be an infantry officer. So, started looking into the requirements, courses I got to do. Then I started hearing about the infamous infantry officers course, right? It's extremely rigorous schoolhouse. It's only 11 weeks, but it comes right after your 6 month basic officer course, that
Right.
everyone learns how to be a rough team. But again, we'll get to that part a little bit later. So started looking at requirements, all the hiking requirements, all the knowledge you're supposed to know, and I thought, okay, how can I prepare myself for TBS and for IOC? So Rudders was the answer. Again, SEAL platoon,
Okay.
recon platoon, like those are great programs as well, but they are they more so focus solely on the physical fitness portion of those programs, not really so much of the academic, right? So I mean, I
Well, no,
figured,
I'd say that's I don't like calling it academic. I would tell you that my perspective, watching what both do, all of them do. Um, all of them have a physical component to it, absolutely. Some tend to be more about gut checking and stuff, and things that they think that they'll experience in some type of selection going forward. Rudders is really about um, back to the heart of, even though they don't send guys to Ranger School anymore, they are still preparing people for those leadership graded positions that you would experience in Ranger School. But where they do experience them, if they go there, is when if they're contracted with the Army and they're going to go off to summer camp their junior year, they're going to get the same type of small unit tactics and operations they're going to get graded and evaluated on. And Rudders really does a great job preparing them for that. Now,
yeah,
right? I can't say that they do as well for preparing people for Ranger School per se, because Ranger School has evolved, has changed. Rudders hasn't evolved their POI, the program of instruction. Um, but that's okay because they're not really going to send any cadets to Ranger School anymore. Because one
right,
year, one class back in the 90s, they crippled a bunch of them, a bunch of West Pointers crippled them, just crippled them. And they lost them. And they're like, well, we can't do this anymore. We can't sustain that. But I say that to say this is that yes, if you want something that's going to prepare you for any type of infantry training, I don't give a crap what it is, what flavor, what flavor of infantry training you want to talk about, Marine Corps, whatever.
yeah,
Yeah, I think Rudders is your best bet because it's going to
100%.
physically train you for the functionality, the physical functionality you need in the infantry, rucking, right, climbing,
Yeah, yeah,
grit, intestinal fortitude, but at the same time, be able to react to contact assault, react to contact, break contact, right? Do the mechanics, the basic blocking and tackling of your battle drills. React to
yeah,
contact, break contact, react to contact near, far,
yeah. Just basic
assault,
principles of patrolling. Yeah, exactly.
right?
100%.
Yeah, and how to put together a plan even outside of a battle drill, but you could stage up a raid or a recon or an ambush,
Yeah,
right? Occupy patrol base tactically and the functions and then the subordinating leadership, the team leaders, what are they supposed to be doing? What's the squadron supposed to be doing? What the machine gun team supposed to be doing? All that kind of stuff. It'll get you into those mechanics. So yeah, I agree with
yeah,
you. Yeah.
yeah. No,
The
I
other the
mean,
other groups could do that too, but again, they're just really working more towards that selection process. Does that
yeah,
make sense?
100%.
And rudders, well, it would be wasting their time to put guys through something to get them ready for rafts too. I mean, like, dude, really? Because I mean, that's what officers go to, rafts too, the first level for an officer. I mean, the odds of getting into a RASP program and getting through it. I mean,
Yeah,
you got a better opportunity to be in the 75th by just going and enlisting and getting a range option 40 contract. To be honest with you, you got a better shot at it than as
yeah,
an officer because the window's short and all that kind of stuff. But I say, yeah, no, it makes sense to go because also infantry tactics, whether it's in the Marine Corps or the Army, they're the same. Little different architecture as far as the structure of the rifle squads and rifle platoons, a little bit different, but not that much. But all the battle drills the same. All the deploy, suppress, report. I mean, all of the things you're supposed to do, they're the same. The language
yeah.
might be a little different.
I'll tell you right now.
I mean, does not Marine basic officer training use the Ranger handbook?
I'll tell you one thing. My instructors all the time, like all their PowerPoints, like they would give us like the classroom instructions. You'd be like, all right, look above the references, and I would see freaking doggone Ranger handbook. Like, yep.
Yeah,
Oh, and
yeah,
this is actually my handbook that I still kept from when I was a cadet in Rudders.
yeah.
I remember when I was
They
like
don't change
five of
much.
them.
I've got the
Yeah,
one back from
no,
1980. I got my first one back from 1983. Um, yeah, they changed a little bit, but
yeah,
even the drawings are still the
no.
same. Most of them.
Here's the draw.
Well, you know what changes? You know what changes? The cover. The cover
yeah.
change.
Well, I'll
Shades.
tell you. Well, they came up with a new one. I think this year. This is a
Yeah.
brand new one. I mean, it's
Yeah.
there's
A
a
little bit bigger.
101st guy on the cover. So,
Yeah.
um,
Not
but
really big, not really designed for you to carry in your pocket, but
no, yeah, but I mean, I don't know. It's nice to have in your library, I suppose, when you're just studying, doing your thing.
sure.
But
Yeah.
but anyway, yeah. So I mean, just like you said, I mean, I think rudders had a good balance of everything. I think what, especially guys that want to go combat arms, to tell you the truth, I really didn't do a whole lot of like upper body stuff in like infantry training. I mean, of course it's important, to like, pick yourself, it's like, be able to pull your body up above obstacles and
Right.
those things. But I
Mhm.
mean, like I was never at IOC, TBS, I was never on my face doing push-ups to hours on end. I wasn't.
Right.
Now, in the
Sure.
future schools, later schools I want to go to, that might change. But for somebody, that,
Well, you go to Ranger School, you will do a lot of push-ups, yes. You will do a lot
100%.
of
Yeah, yeah,
cargo
yeah.
net climbing, a lot of cargo net climbing. So you'll
Yeah, yeah.
see, because particularly in the mountain phase of Ranger School, you're climbing. Every day you're climbing up stuff.
Yeah.
Climbing up stuff, you're running down stuff. I mean, it's just because it's all mountains. So it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
I
And you
mean,
got to have the physicality, the upper body physicality, also just to carry a 90-pound rucksack.
yeah.
That's
No,
how
no, no,
much
no. I
your
mean,
rucksack's going to weigh, about 90
yeah,
pounds with all this stuff.
100%. Yeah, it was pretty much the same thing at ISC. I mean, I think, I want to say, I think our heavies hike. I was carrying the 50 cal receiver. I want to say it was like close to
That's about
65,
70
70
pounds.
pounds. I think I had 60
That
pounds, 70
receiver's
pounds
about
on
70
my pack.
pounds.
Yeah. So that receiver plus the 70-pound main pack, boots,
Oh, yeah.
camis, whatever else.
Mm-hmm.
The receiver and the rifle, which was stupid. I don't know. I think quite literally it was literally just to get you to see, hey, like you're,
Oh, no, it's just, well, there could be a time you got to pick up an M250 cal, break it down and move it. I mean, it could
yeah,
happen. Odds of
yeah,
it, but it could
yeah,
happen.
yeah. But anyway, I mean, I got it. I mean, I remember when I first, checked in, to rudders, got my, my SIP issued, everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
The first couple of PTs, man, I was like, wow, I think, this is good. It really, it helped me really kind of, discover really, I mean, kind of more learn. So it's like, hey, there's a lot more to PT than just running. Like,
Right.
you got to really kind of focus,
No,
on your chassis.
well, we talked about this again. I mean, I run a lot, but for me,
Yeah.
it's about my brain. That's it. But it's not really. I get my best conditioning when I'm out on that band slab, moving heavy stuff around.
Yeah.
That's where I really get my conditioning in. Or
Yeah.
doing chin ups, pull ups, knee tucks.
Yeah.
So let's
So
uh
like,
let's change this a little bit though.
yeah.
One thing we didn't talk about is like how we met. Let's talk about how you and I
Oh yeah.
connected.
I love,
Because
what?
I was in the brigade and I minded my own business, third brigade at the time.
Yeah. So how did I, man, you know what? Not thinking about it. I'm pretty sure this was, no, this was sophomore year. Yeah, no, this was sophomore year. I was in your SOMS class my sophomore year. And, I think at the time, I guess you could call it a meme page. I don't really know really what to call it, to be honest with you. It was just you, just Frank the Tank, right? So,
Well, it was
you
my
know,
it was
and I,
my it was my original Instagram account. It was my original Instagram account.
yeah. I think I remember like you put out, I think like, I think you and another meme page, I think you guys, had some beef or whatever. So I think, you put out something like, hey, like, if you want to, come talk, this is my office, like pull up or something
Yeah.
like that. So I
Well, no,
remember
because remember we talked about I would tell you guys like I don't play this anonymous crap. Like you want to throw some, go ahead. You know what? You throw shit on me, by all means. Exploit my weaknesses. Exploit what the things you think you find stupid about. Whatever. I don't give a shit.
yeah,
But go for it. But don't
yeah,
hide behind this anonymous bullshit, right? And bring receipts. Because you probably are right, but you may not be. You may not know you may not know what's going on. But my point is I never appreciated people who wrote on the shithouse wall, just stupid stuff, right? At
yeah,
least if you're going to do it, make it funny, make it entertaining, have some truth to it. versus just some like, giving everybody the finger,
Yeah.
right?
No, for
I
sure.
mean, like, grow up. We're adults, right? You want to be treated like adult, act like adult. Adults don't do
Yeah.
bullshit, right? And
Look,
so, yeah, but yeah, I'd always throw shade back at the cadets. Like, okay, really? That's what you think? Okay, great. I don't give a shit. How about this? How about this? How about this? And then, yeah, if you got a problem, here's my office. Knock on the door. Come on up. We'll talk.
yeah, and
Yeah.
at the time, I actually started my own meme page at the time, and
Mhm.
and I
Yeah, the
remember,
growler, the Duncan growler.
yeah, Doug Growler. I think if you know, you know. But so I remember you to put that out, and I was talking with an old
Yeah.
lady, about former old lady at the time, RP, and I was like, dude, like, what if? And he was just and I remember we actually made a bet, and he was like, hey, like if you go see him, I'm thinking about like a water burger. It was like something stupid. So I was like, all right, whatever, I'll go do it. So showed up to your office, and I was like, hey, this is who I am. And then I remember I was anticipating, to receive, quite the ass chewing, but I was like, you know what, it's gonna be worth it, after this because then some old lady, hey, I did this, but that's actually not the case at all. I showed up, and I remember these in your old office. I think it was in dorm. What was it, dorm
One,
one?
door one, yeah.
Yeah. It was in dorm one. Because in dorm one showed up. You had snacks. I think it was like mini
Yeah.
Mexican Coca Colas.
And I tell people I have
Yeah.
snacks, I have beverages. Yeah. Hey, you
Yeah,
want
so
some of
so I
this?
showed up. You're very, very accommodating. I was very, very surprised. Like, wow, like I actually, I'm not. At the time, I was like, wow, this is definitely like a trap to set up. Like, I think I'm about to get screwed. No, not at all. I want to, I want to say, I think we talked for like a good like 2 hours just sitting there just
Yeah.
BSing.
Yeah.
And
Just bull
yeah,
it.
I
Just good
remember,
bull. Good, good.
I
It's
remember
all good
walking away,
bull.
and I remember walking away, and I was like, holy shit! Like, I talked, I actually talked to the CTL. Like, that's crazy at the time. That's what you guys were called. So,
Yeah.
uh, yeah. And then I think after that, I don't know. I think we would keep throwing shade at each other, over the internet, but
Yeah.
it was all, just like
It's all
just
good
good
fun.
fun. Yeah. And then I think, and then I think remember, I was going through, kind of a more rough time. I was sophomore, junior
Yeah.
years. I think, I think that was when you really kind of took me under your wing, started kind of mentoring me, kind of show me what right looks like in a lot of different
Right.
ways.
And this too shall pass. This too shall
Yeah,
pass.
no, 100%. So I think that was really the biggest one. And then that was really what you also kind of helped me. That I think you also kind of helped serve as like a bridge to kind of introduce me to like the Army Trigon staff as well. So like Sergeant
Right.
Megan, Major Huebner, all those guys.
Hmm.
And then then came a time I was like, all right, well, I want to go to B2. It was like, oh, perfect. Like I know exactly who to go talk to about that. And then just
Sure.
senior year, I think I really worked with you a lot. I think I probably see
Yeah.
you, I think, I'd say like
Well, the
twice a
training,
week.
you were the training officer. So, like, you had
Yeah.
to get your stuff approved. And I tell the guys, just come see me and let me work through this with you. I don't want to say no, but if you just send me trash, I'm not going to approve it. I can't
Yeah.
because it's
Yeah.
trash.
So,
I'm not doing
so,
it.
so I remember I would see
Sorry.
you, I'd see you Mondays and Fridays,
Right.
kind of
And
briefing
just
you
bring
con
me a
ops,
stack of
with
them and we
you.
just start going through it. All right, we'll fix this, fix that, tune it,
Yeah,
change this, change that,
exactly.
this.
Yep.
And then get all that done, you're good to go. And then get out of here.
Yeah.
I got stuff to
So,
do.
and of course, I remember, I think, yeah, I want to say we're on the first floor, and I think probably some of the best memory thing I had with you is like where like we would be, I guess almost too loud, I guess, in the hallway,
Yeah.
or we do that. What I would do, guilty surge, is I would shut the the hallway door or whatever,
Yeah.
and then then you come in and be like, hey man, like why are you doing this? I'm like, all right, like you got me, fine, whatever. So I think you and I, we would constantly we would just I guess kind of, we would always kind of just play games with each other, right? A lot. So but
I knew what
I
you were
will
doing,
say,
but I gotta mess with you
yeah,
a little bit.
yeah. So I gotta say, I think just really kind of how you and I just kind of got to where we are now is just communication, man. You're just talking to each other just like adults, right? Just being
No,
able to
no.
kind of,
And I
you
want to
know,
talk to cadets like adults if they just would act like it and talk like one. I mean, it'd
yeah,
be real simple because I'm not going to talk like a child. I'm just going to look
no,
at you, and go, I ain't got time for this. I got to go. Get out of my office. Go away. Go do something else. I don't give a shit. Oh, just learn how to drink.
Yeah.
But you know the funny part about it is anytime somebody starts whining to John about me a little bit, right? Or saying some trying to talk some shit, right? To see if they get something out of John. John goes, you ever think to go talk to him? Go knock on his door? And they just look at him like, yeah, you should, why don't you go tell him that? Go knock on his door, let him know. Share that with him. See what
Yeah.
happens. And then John just walks away from him, like, "Yeah, shut up. Stop whining."
Yeah. No, and I think, I mean, I remember when I first went and talked to, I said, you know what? The worst thing he does is just shut me down. Like, all right, at least you tried. But, and that's really all it is. I mean, I think a lot of things in your life, you got to go, hey, the worst thing that this organization, this person does is to shut you down and say no.
Yeah.
Then at least you
And
know,
sometimes
right?
that's a temporary no. You just go to find somebody who can give you the yes.
Yeah, 100%.
You just got to
So,
figure out, is it that important to you? Yes or no? If it is, proceed. If it isn't, let it go. Find another
yep,
focus.
yep,
Just
yep.
refocus.
So he's moved on to back to the force, but
Right. He pops
uh,
in and out though. He pops in and
yeah,
out.
yeah. So
Yeah, he's back
major
and forth
major
there.
H. Oh yeah, yeah. Bringing the great place. What do you call it? Yeah,
That's what they call it, the
uh,
great place.
yeah. That's why I said it. Yeah, yeah. So you got to meet all those cool people. Really got to make lifelong friends. I still talk to this day, and then that's also where I met my current buddies. The B2 the Patriot the B2 Patriots. They're
You almost
what do
said
you
it. I
call
know, I
it?
heard you. Yeah, the boozers. You guys,
Yeah,
boy.
yeah, buzzards, boozers. It doesn't. I mean, hey, you
Uh-huh.
can. Well, all right. I guess that's a different different story. But to me, they'll always be the boozers for sure. But I think if
Okay.
you talk to anybody else, they'll be the as you call them the Patriots.
Patriots.
Yeah, yeah, Patriots. Yeah,
Who knows? You
yeah,
guys
yeah.
still screw that shit up. It ain't the British are coming. It's the
Yeah, yeah.
redcoats are
Well,
coming.
anyway,
Screw that
well,
up. But go ahead.
uh, yeah. So. that's that's where I met, people like like Will Raymer, Will Christensen, all the guys,
Yeah,
at the
sure.
time,
Okay.
who were juniors, and they were,
Mhm.
they were either first sergeants or platoon leadership.
Right, right.
And I remember at the time, I don't know, it felt weird, wearing, like my Marine Corps cami. So I showed up, I kept showing up to the lab, with our, in like the old school, like, grandma's couch ACUs, like the UCP pattern, right?
Yeah.
And I remember Sergeant Megan came up to me. It was like, "Hey, do me a favor, like ditch those camis and put on your Marine fatigues." And I tried. I was like, "Look, like I can't really exactly wear them. Like I haven't really earned them yet. I'm not a Marine yet." He's like, "Look, I'll talk to your OSO, like whatever." So talked to my OSO, and he was like, "Yeah, like I mean, you're doing field training, so go for it." So that was really when I kind of put on camis. That was kind of I started actually really doing kind of really learning
Right.
on how to be a Marine, but through the Army. I know it sounds almost like sacrilegious, but I think that was where I
It,
really started to you know
only if you're a Marine, I guess, do you think it sounds sacrilegious. We do not think that because remember, and I've told you this, and you can look it up, the first two Marine companies were U.S. infantry companies that were kind of sheep dipped for Washington and Arnold. They took them on expeditions to the north, to Canada. And one did real well, one was mediocre at best, but it gave enough for Washington to go to the Congress and say, I need a battalion, 200 Marines, because I want to start a campaign into Canada and I need Marines for that. And got them a few months later to establish a Marine Corps, which is the official establishment of the Marine Corps, right? Because that's when they built
yeah
the charter and Tun Tavern and all that good stuff.
yep
But it was
yep
based upon the first Marines, which were two infantry companies out of the Continental Army,
yeah.
led by
Yeah. So, I mean, and I got to tell you, man, like, I mean, like the basic Rifleman skills, that was really that's really where it started. Like, I mean,
Mhm.
every little thing, like, hey, like all these like like loose straps like on your pack, like tape that
Mhm.
crap up, man, clean it up, right?
Yeah.
Hands always always on your pistol grip, right? At bare minimum, you still always have your hand on your pistol grip, fingers,
Mhm.
straight out the trigger, all
Mhm.
all of the little things, right? Constantly, cleaning your weapon system.
Mhm.
If
Right,
you're
right,
not doing
right.
anything, if you're not doing anything, so you read your handbook,
Right.
be with
Priorities
your
of war.
buddies, but yeah, you just all the, I mean, all the little things, and I gotta say, like, I mean, really, now that I think about it, I mean, uh, just doing all the labs, all the FTXs, that was really where I kind of bonded with, with the B2 guys, both my buddies and the underclassmen at the time. And then fast forward to spring of the my junior year, spring of 24. Yeah, spring of 24. No, sorry, spring of 23. My bad.
Mhm.
That was where I took a trip, my study abroad, and did it in London in the UK. And for for a time it was very strange. I was very used to putting on a uniform every day, doing like doing the
Mhm.
thing, and then then I got thrown into a different environment, more corporate environment, where it's like
Mhm.
like a free man. I mean, it's like as long as I show up to work, go to class, time's on me. So that was really where I kind of started understanding. Okay, like who am I as a
Mhm.
person? Like like how like obviously I realized I made a lot of mistakes prior, like in college, just kind of doing just whatever in terms of like leadership, in terms of just my personal life. So that was really where I kind of figured myself out, got my feet under me, came back, crushed OCS, became, earned the title of United States Marine. And then whenever I had to reapply for the Corps, just like after you have to do, I think every time you go on an LOA, I put B2. And I remember at the time, my advisor, Penny Reagan, he wasn't really too happy about that. I'm sure you can
Yeah.
attest. But I will say he
No,
like
no, he said, asked me, I was like, well, I was like, he said he's in rudders. He's with those guys all the time. Makes sense. And he just looked at me like I was insane. I was like, it makes sense. He's with rudders all the time.
yeah, no,
And I just did that.
I
I went like, like, yeah.
look, like I said, Sergeant Major, again, N1, second reg, great outfit, just a good, good group of people, getting ready to like. But I mean, I honestly wasn't really around much. I mean, I was an RV as well, so
Right.
doing RVs on top of rudders.
No,
I mean, I
right,
barely got to, I barely really got to see the outfit. I mean, I would show up, when I could, I went to outfit PT, did the thing, but
right.
I mean,
Well, no, I mean,
my,
you had co-curriculars. It was,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I
So I mean,
got it. I mean, like,
yeah. So I
I
mean,
see, I've
and
never, unlike some of my, and I hate to say this, I don't want to, yeah, my colleagues understand this. They've heard me say this.
yeah,
I don't ever worry about what a cadet does or where they want to go, what they want to do. If a cadet says they want to transfer out of the outfit that I'm advising, okay, fine. I don't, I don't reflect that upon myself. That's not, I mean, I got nothing to do with it, to be honest with you.
yeah,
It's not
yeah,
me. It's that they're going to do what they want to do because they're there for them. They're not there for me. Does that make sense?
yeah. No, 100%. And I
I've
mean,
never,
I
I've
think,
never worried about what a cadet said. Oh, I want to go back to the reg. Okay, good luck. Not
yeah,
for me, man. Right?
yeah. I
Like, I
mean,
don't care if I've got cadets when I was in the brigade that were contracted Air Force or that were contracting Coast Guard or contracting anything outside the Army. Because I understand we have these cultures like the brigade is the Army and the wing
yeah,
is the
no,
Air Force and the regiment is Navy Marine Corps. But to be honest with you, there's guys contracting in every outfit on the quad, in every whatever, right? Just like in the brigade, they got people contracting um, who aren't going in the army. I don't, you know what I mean? Like I don't, and
yeah,
I just think some of my contemporaries kind of still like they kind of get like that, right? Like, oh, there shouldn't be anybody contracting the army in the regiment. Okay, if that's what you want, you're going to lose about a quarter of your people. Just going to throw that at you.
yeah. I mean,
Think about
I
it.
think, yeah. I mean, I'll I'll put it this way. You know, you know, as disdainful as this might sound, I just love the B2 culture the most out of any other outfit on the quad. It
There's
was
nothing wrong
just,
with that, man.
I
There's
mean, hey,
nothing
look,
wrong with that.
you know, again, like, I remember, when I was on my way out,
Every outfit has its strengths and its weaknesses. Every outfit. There's
100%.
no
Yeah,
outfit that's not at all, not even close. But most of them have far more strengths than weaknesses. Far more strengths than weaknesses, but they all have.
100%. Yeah, yeah. No, and I mean,
And
and
it's
I,
a
yeah, I was telling, my buddies from N1 to say, hey, man, like, please stay with us. Like, why are you leaving? I was like, look, guys, like you guys were awesome. You guys were great. It's not like has nothing to do with you guys at all. Like, I had no trouble here. I'm just, I want more. I'm hungry for it. And again, I just it was kind of like it was almost like a breakup in a way. It was sad, but I mean,
not you, it's me.
again,
It's not you, it's me. But let's be honest. I mean, now you wanted more tactical culture.
yeah,
B2 is a big foundation of tactical culture. Now they also do a lot of bonfire now. That started a
yeah,
couple years back. Started to do more of the cut in the stack. But
yeah,
but they were definitely tell you since I worked there, have always had this. They do their own extra fall FTX. They do their own extra spring FTX, but
oh
they do
yeah,
it right. They do the risk. They make sure they got advisor support, coverage,
yeah.
and they're safe and nobody gets hurt and they've got a plan for it. As long as somebody doesn't sit on a knife, everything's pretty cool. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I went there. I went there. Sits on a knife. Come on, man.
hey,
Boy
look,
Scouts know better than that. Boy Scouts know
hey,
better than that.
uh, uh, bottom line, V2, best outfit on the quad. I'm going to say that,
All right.
I'm not ashamed to say it. In my opinion, I think they've got it right. I mean,
Okay.
hey, look,
Fair enough.
hey, I'm not gonna sit here and BS you and say that we did not do a lot of stupidities, right?
Oh,
Because
I know.
we did, but
You did.
myself
You did.
included,
Hmm.
so like.
Okay.
I'm sure the guys watching this, I'm sure all of them know I had a thing for trash cans and sod tables. I'm just gonna leave it at that. But yeah. So anyway, just come back from the UK, crush
Right.
OCS.
Hmm.
I check in for I come to B2. I showed up early because I think I was doing summer FTX with Rudder, so kind of just like getting back in the saddle, kind of transitioning away from the
Right.
hey, scream loud, move fast, don't really know what you're doing, just kind of like fuck games, if you will. To
Sure.
okay, now we need to start learning. Okay, how are we gonna be infantrymen? Like how am I gonna you know uh, kind of shape my leadership moving forward. So
Okay. Let's kind of
and
speed up a little bit though. Let's kind of move forward a little bit though.
yeah,
So you got through your core experience and everything on that. So transitioning into going, you went to, went back to, so first you went to the OCS part, then you go back as a senior to the second part of your officer training, right?
yeah.
And then you go to, and then you go into your basic officer course
Yeah,
for infantry, right?
yeah.
So talk about that transition a little bit.
Yeah, 100%. So I mean, again, OCS, all the game, the drill instructor, the sergeant instructor, drill instructor, all the different things. Graduated at Texas A&M commission, waited around for I think maybe about 2, 3 months or so. And then I checked into the basic officer course, which every Marine officer goes to, regardless of what they're going to do in the future. That is
Right.
where everyone is trained on how to be. The Marine Corps, they believe that every officer is a provisional rifle platoon commander, and
Right.
every Marine a rifleman. Right. That is general goal and consensus in the mission for the Marine Corps training
Okay. Fair enough.
people. Uh, I will say it was a huge culture shock. coming to the Marine Corps. And I say that because I remember one of my professors at the time, my senior year, said, "Hey, man, like before you go, I just want to tell you something." And Professor Houston in construction science, he was a common engineer. He got it as a captain, came back to NMT, and he was like, "Look, you may not believe me now, but you will never ever, and if you do, like, count your blessings, but you will rarely find people um, similar to those you had at Texas A&M." And what he meant by that was not everybody was about it. Not everybody, kind of, I guess, like had the same, I guess, foundational upbringing, I guess, if you will, going into the Marine Corps. Like a lot of my peers, they went to, just, normal, schools, with ROTC programs, right? So, it's like, it was their first time, you can say, like, wearing a uniform every single day. It was their first time, shaving their face, like, on the daily, right? Getting clean haircuts, all those different things.
Sure,
Uh, for me, I mean, I don't know. I think just kind of it was I don't want to say it was tough, but like I guess it kind of took me a minute to kind of figure out, I guess, how to sort of not really communicate with, kind of like work with those people, but I guess sort of I'll always remind myself like, hey, like these guys were not in rudders with you. A lot of these guys, like are right off the street. They don't really, a lot of them, like, don't know what they're doing. Their ROTC programs, they didn't teach them, the basics. So very, very, very quickly, started, doing all the field exercises, all the hikes, did those with no issue at all. So I was, very, very proficient, when it came to like patrol-based operations, just patrolling, because Quantico, it's a tree line. Uh, very, very similar to how it was at TA Clark, behind Easterwood, with rudders, right? Tree
sure,
line, PB, no discipline, light discipline. My instructor, my SPC, he recognized that pretty quick. He was like, hey, are you proud list? I was like, no, sir. So I explained to him about rudders, kind of what I learned. So did that, I like to think, I did pretty well. I got, towards the middle part of the course, that's where I started, kind of giving you like a list, like, I guess your dream sheet of what you want to do in the Marine Corps. The Marine Corps, the way it works is you're not guaranteed that. I mean, like, you can, like, you can put what you want, 1 through 20, whatever, however many choices you have. But at the end of the day, it's the needs and wants of the Marine Corps. It's also kind of based on your performance a little bit.
right.
So I ended up getting
Well, it's
infantry.
called they call it talent management. There's a
Yeah,
need,
yeah, very, yeah,
and even if there's a need, if you don't have what they think you're supposed to, what you need to have to be a fit, they're not going to send you there because it's not going to, you're wasting everybody's time.
correct. Yeah, 100%. And that's really kind of how it worked out, right? So, got
Sure.
infantry, finished strong. Then, a lot of my buddies, they left Quantico, they
Right.
went to, their bases, their duty stations, their schoolhouses, and I was happy for them. For me, it was a little bit different. I didn't really celebrate at all because I was like, well, I'm still here, and I'm just going across the street to a more sinister place called IOC, Officers Course, right? So I guess it very kind of a similar pipeline to how like the Army infantry Bubba's have it. So their IBOLIC is about 6 months. Our TDS is around the same time, 6 7 months. And then usually now, I guess, then they go, I guess, across the way to Ranger School, which is how many
Right.
weeks? It is still is about 13 weeks, I think, 11 weeks.
62 days without a
Yeah,
recycle.
yeah. So for
So you
us,
do the math.
similar timeline, a little bit longer, 11 weeks. And that was where the real gut check was, and that was where I really kind of give credit to rudders, B2, really the Corps cadets, because yeah, if it wasn't for all the lessons, all the hard lessons I've learned, through the Corps, all the preparation, all the training, uh, I definitely would not have made it through. Not a chance. I mean, so
Okay.
many guys, so many great guys, my fellow classmates that did not make it through the 4TAC 24, or sorry, 4TAC 25 class, due to heat injury or whatever.
Right.
Again, I was very, very fortunate, very, very blessed to have graduated and made it through.
Okay.
Uh, yeah.
Would you thinking about it, anything, do you think there's any gaps with what, your core experience to your transitioning to be in the Marine Corps? Any gaps in like certain things that, well, if I had this, I think this would have been not easier, but more manageable per se. Or was
Yeah.
it, yeah,
I mean, for me, I mean, again, my core journey was very unorthodox, right? Jumping from outfit to outfit. I kind of, kind of got everything, I guess, I kind of needed, just kind of like, casting my net, in different ponds and around on the quad.
sure.
But what I will say is I think a gap that a lot of people might have in the Corps, at least that I kind of looking from outside, looking in, is just uh, people people are very, very, I don't want to say they're afraid, but like they're not really comfortable going like, or like to like other places outside of their outfits. Okay, fine. Okay, going off campus is one thing, but like for example, like me, like checking out rudders, checking out RVs, like all these different things. I mean, I think I think all those organizational experiences I had, they definitely kind of fed into, kind of filled a lot of those gaps that I had. But for somebody, who just stays, for example, I don't know, like say in like K2 or, whatever, they don't, that's all they know. All they know is K2, right? All they know is, that, that outfit, that culture, those things. Uh, and I think they, not not necessarily, not necessarily get cheated out of it, but I think if you don't step out, of your comfort zone, and you start looking at different things, that is where you lose out on a lot of knowledge and there's a lot of experiences that you probably wouldn't get, sitting where you're at. You know what I mean?
So so I'm taking what you're saying is like they're missing opportunities for whatever reason, whether it's complacency, whether it's comfortability, whether it's fear of rejection, whatever it may be, that
Yeah.
makes people hesitant from expanding outside of their outfit, which is okay. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
But
No, I
because
mean,
they don't do that, then they miss these opportunities of possible growth, more connections.
yeah. And I'll tell you, I mean, this year is this year for a reason. Sophomore year for a reason. Once you really start getting to like your junior and senior year, that's the time where you should really start like networking. That's where you need to essentially, like leave your dorm more, get out, talk to people, kind of just see what's out there.
Well, I
Looking back,
definitely think so if I definitely think so if you're a DNC because
yeah,
like you're going out where it is all about that. And
yeah,
it's kind of a little bit about that in the Army, and I'm sure it is in the Marine Corps and in other services to an extent. You're going to network with people, but the military kind of forces you to because you have to communicate, you have to collaborate, cross cross adjacent outfits and stuff like that. You have to work together. And then if you stay in long enough, you're going to move a few times because that's what the military does. They move
yeah,
you to, you're like, okay, you're done here. You've got the key development time here. Now we need to broaden you. So we're going to move you over here and
yeah,
hopefully make this team a little bit better, right? And make you a little bit
yeah,
better. And then you're going to connect with new people. And that's just how it is. And then, you do that enough, then you have this thing called a reputation because you've connected with so many people who've also moved around and they sing your lore, your mythos, all right,
yeah,
about like, hey, and then they start, oh, you know him. Oh, you worked with him. Oh, yeah, yeah. And what do you think? And what do you think? Yeah, yeah. Holy
yeah.
crap. Like
It
start sharing
very,
similar stories and realizing, oh, that's the same dude. Yeah. Yeah, he never
yeah.
changes. Okay, cool.
It's very. I gotta say, like, kind of like accidentally, kind of what I ended up doing in my core career, it very much simulated kind of like on a very, very, very small scale of what I'm going to be doing on a bigger scale throughout my entire career in the Marine Corps, right? It's
Sure.
like,
Yeah. You're going to
I'm not
move.
going to be, I'm not going to be a platoon commander, forever, till I have
Right.
palms, right? I'm going to
No.
move to, Lejeune or Pendleton, whatever, to a different
Mhm.
unit.
Yeah.
start doing different things,
We
whatever.
think they're the
So
best. We'll tell you that unit you left, that was a piece of crap. You're in the best unit now.
yeah, no, they I think somebody said it best. You're the best outfits are the ones you just left. You know what I'm saying? I think everybody. Yeah, I mean,
Well, there's that old saying, the best outfit is just left. The worst outfit is the outfit that you're just coming in the door with.
correct. Yes, yeah.
Like, what the hell did I get
But
myself into? Are you kidding me?
yeah, yeah. So it very again. So really, in terms of gaps, I think that general bigger gaps. I don't. I don't. I think it's good that I think it's good that like people can decide to stay like in their outfits all 4 years. I'm all for it. I think it's I mean if you like your buddy, love your buddies, it's fine.
Sure.
But I think I think there needs to be a little bit less kind of friction for others if they decide to go to different organizations. Because I will say like I mean luckily I knew the right people to help me out kind of go from organization to organization. But I knew for a lot of people they had to go through a lot of hurdles, a lot of just loops to hop through just to change outfits, just to go on LOA or whatever, right?
Oh,
So I think
no, I've seen it too. And then even
yeah.
with the transfers, they'll come in and then some outfits will like, you'll never be a part of us. It's like, what's that attitude about? You'll never be a part of us. Brother, he is a part of you. He's got the core, he earned core badge just like you did. All right. And he's coming to help you out because you have a shortage. That's why he's coming to your outfit. It's not arbitrary. Or he picked your outfit because they want to be a part of your outfit. I mean, like, and then the cop attitude of, eh, you're not really one of us. What? I
Yeah,
just I never I can't I don't understand the juvenile thinking like that. Because it's even when in the army, new guys show up, right? New guys show up. That's cool. They got to fit in. So there's a little storming going on, and we get to know who
yeah,
they are, and then they come out of their shell, and that's great. And then we see who for
yeah,
whom they are, and they have to assimilate and adapt, or yeah, they're just gonna be miserable for their time there. What the,
yeah. No, I mean for sure. I think at the same time, like it is, you know, it's good, to welcome new people, to organization, and you should want new people, but you should also want the right people. I think,
yeah, sure,
I mean, because I think in the core, a lot of like the fear from from especially from like from frogs, as they call us, guys that come from transfer outfits, is a lot of us. I mean, at least the way I've seen it is they're either very very good or they're not good at all, right?
yeah,
They're just not really the right fit
fair
for the
enough.
outfit. I don't know. Again, it kind of depends on who you ask. That was just based on my limited experience in the Corps Cadets, for the 3.5 years that I was there. So I understand why they kind of, why some outfits, act the way they act, but at the same time, I think it also kind of pushes away a lot of potentially, amazing people that
Yeah,
might actually enhance organization on a whole new level, right?
yeah,
So like, I mean, I remember, when I joined B2, in my opinion, they had it just right. I mean, in terms of like obviously, they were very welcoming to me. They accepted me for who I
sure.
was. I was a total Marine. I'm a sea of
Hmm.
Army guys, but I think they also expected me to perform. They also expected me to to actually contribute to their outfit, right? I
All right.
wasn't to be honest with you, I also didn't think it was right to just show up and just not do anything. Like
Oh yeah, sure.
basically,
No, I
I
got
was
it.
very quick, like I said, like quickly assimilate, learn like the rules of the road for that outfit. But then
Yeah.
also, if some, like ask around, it's like, hey, like, what can I help fix around here, if anything, right? And I'll tell you, I mean, I remember, I was told, hey, we could really, really use, we could use a little bit of cleaning up, in some areas here in B2. We could absolutely, use. kind of just like a different way of, kind of, getting in the fish, all rowdied up, kind of, doing just, doing the PT, just all just small things. I didn't, the last thing I wanted to do, was to completely, guns a blazing, change the culture when it really didn't need to be changed. I think BT got
But
the
you really
PT got
weren't
it
going to be
right.
able to. You really weren't going to be able to do that. You know that, right?
Ex-
One
ex-
guy can't change very much there. You got to get
no,
synergy
no,
behind it. You know, it would take a lot of,
no.
and that's hard
Yeah.
to get around that organization with synergy for anything other than chicanery and
Yeah.
tomfoolery. But I'm going to wrap this up right now. And everything. This is great. I think we got a lot of good stuff. I can put all this together, and it's going to be a
Yeah.
really good interview because I've got over an hour's worth of stuff that I'm going to neck down in about 30 minutes.
It's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was great, and I really appreciate it. And I think it's fun. And then I'll let you know when I get the finished product edited, and then I'll send you the link to the Spotify so you can take a look at it and see
Yeah.
if you approve.
Yeah. 100%, man. I think, let me think. I think I guess my one kind of unsolicited piece of advice for, cadets watching this or, whatever is, just, sometimes you got to just, grab yourself by the balls and just try something new. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really all it comes down to. So,
Sometimes
you know,
it ain't just sometimes it's not really a tradition, it's just bullshit. And you got to be able to say, you know what?
yeah. So I guess if I can give one good piece of unsolicited advice is just, sometimes you got to grab yourself by the balls and try something new. That's really, really, really what it kind of comes down to because when you try something new, you may or may not get something that you didn't realize you needed, and then of course you grow from that. So definitely just cast your net, try something new every day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when again, as we talk about, like, a lot of guys just keep doing the same thing over and over and over, saying it's a tradition or whatever, and it's not really. I mean, even if it were, is it even relevant? And
Yeah,
so
I mean,
if you don't risk it for the biscuit, I mean, like, are you ever going to grow? Or are you ever going to get better? Or are you ever going to have that opportunity, you know, that might
yeah,
you might actually enjoy?
yeah, no, exactly. I mean, and at the same, I mean, when it comes to traditions, I think there's nothing wrong with starting new traditions, right? Or just like I mean, obviously, I guess it really kind of depends on who you ask on like, what a tradition is. Yeah, I think everyone has their own definition of, like, oh, like, well, we've all, done it this way. Well, okay, but like maybe that tradition is, I guess, like the bane of your office existence, right? Or maybe that tradition is what is going to get you guys killed, or whatever. So
Or
that's just kind of
it's a tradition that doesn't really bring value to your organization or doesn't support the actual values of the university as well as the Corps of Cadets, right? There might
yeah,
be counter to that. And eventually people are just gonna, and again, like I said before earlier, you got strengths, you got weaknesses, right? Everybody's got them,
yeah.
but you got to capitalize on your strengths. And remember that thing we used to, what that thing I used to tell you guys about relationships, about give and take?
I don't like this item major. You
But,
might have to jog my memory on that one.
the love bank.
Uh did you tell us this up in your Psalms class?
Well, I tell, yeah, I use it in Psalms class, but I also talk
Yeah,
about it just in general when I talk to outfits and stuff. So, relationships are based upon give and take, right?
yeah,
There's a guy who wrote a book called The Love Bank, right? And he talks about whether it's friendships or personal relationships, interpersonal relationships, or even professional relationships, that the more you're selfless and you give and you give and you give and you earn a credit with people, with organizations, with people. So if you have the times that you make a decision, you do something that it's a mistake, but you did it right and it had unintended outcomes or consequences, right? And so that becomes something that comes out of that account, right? Like the goodwill account, right? Like, you have a reputation, you've done such great stuff, and then you make a mistake, but it's like, okay, but that's a one-off, right? Because look at all the good stuff this person's done versus, okay, they had one time where they had a failing, they had a flaw, okay, that's a one-off.
Yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
they've
Exactly.
amassed enough credit in that account, in that relationship account. So you do a lot of good stuff, and then you have a oh shit, and then it's okay. But when you don't have anything in that account, that positive, that love bank, that those you're already at zero balance on there, and then you do something selfish, like that's where people tend to get this point of like, why? And I'm not dealing with you. You're just, you know what I mean? You're drama. I'm not dealing with you.
Yeah.
I got
Yeah.
time for that.
No,
Or they
for
won't even
sure.
give you the benefit of the doubt because, like, why should they? I mean, why should they? Because what have you
Yeah.
done to earn a reputation of this is just a one-off, right?
Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I think you can, it is, it is okay to make mistakes. I think as long as you do not repeat those mistakes in the future, you know what I'm saying? I think that's
Well, if you
that's
learn
kind of
from it,
where,
you shouldn't. If you're really learning from it, you should. But
yeah,
how do you learn from a mistake? Well, there has to be typically a consequence,
correct.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
You pay your,
100%. And I think,
you endure the consequence, you learn from it, you move forward. Yeah.
yeah, no, definitely
Just-
some of the best. I don't know. I always tell my folks this. Tell my buddy, my nephew this as well. Like, hey, look, like the best lessons that I've ever learned in life are always the hard ones. Always, because they stick with you. They really, really, really do. Like for as long as you
Well,
live. Okay, got it.
tell me, tell me what you learn about being successful.
Definitely did not happen overnight, and it took a lot of failure.
But you don't, but again, you're talking about failure. The
Yeah,
point
no,
being is that
that's
you don't really learn a lot from success. Okay, I did it. It went well. Okay, great.
yeah,
Does it mean it's you can replicate that? No, it really doesn't because there's things outside of your control that went your way. Okay, great. But what you learn is, yes, when you fail spectacularly. Oh, I tried that. That didn't work. Hmm, let's try something else, right?
yeah,
And sometimes
yep,
it's something that's completely different. Like, no, we have to go 180 degrees off of this because that ain't right. And I don't think any derivation of that's going to be right. We need to take a 180-degree tack
yeah.
and go the opposite direction on that. We need to break contact from that. We don't
Well,
need to get into
100%.
that. Um, but yeah, that's what you learn. I mean, be honest, I mean, just like even just learning from people. While I've learned a lot of really good stuff from some guys that I would love to emulate. I can't really because I don't have that personality, but I do like that. And maybe I could take a part of that or use some of that. But I would tell you more the most impactful thing I've learned, right? Whether it was my failure, is watching the failure of others, right? Like that dude sucks. I am not going to be like that guy
Yeah,
ever.
no, for sure. I mean, especially if that, I mean, I think I've always been raised, it's like, hey, if you see someone struggling, help them out. But at the same time, you can only
Yeah.
help out somebody so much to where
Yeah.
it's like, all right, like I've tried to be a good dude. You either don't care as to what I have to say or you just don't want
Sure.
to do it. Fine.
Right. Or you
Then
got a personal
then
bias and nothing I say will, you're just
yeah.
going to do the opposite of what I say anyway.
Yep. And then what you do, is like, at that point you take like a back seat and you kind of just, I guess, watch the world burn, if you will, right? And you go,
Watch the
okay,
show. Oh yeah. And go,
yeah.
oof.
And then of
And take
course, and you
notes.
look
Take notes because like, dude,
correct. Yep.
don't do
Yep.
that. Don't do that.
Yep.
Don't do that.
Very much so. Yeah, like absolutely. 100%. I think a lot of mistakes can be prevented. I mean,
Mhm.
it really just by
Sure.
reading, looking at others and just reading history, man. I mean,
Yeah.
I think General Mattis said it best. I think it's like the 1,000-year-old mind is really what is gonna, make you successful, right? So just reading, learning from others, that is what really will set you up for success in your future. 100%.
Well, and also got to be patient, man, to a point. I mean,
Oh yeah.
nothing. Look, um, I try to remind John, I try to remind other guys all the time, like what I know, I've learned over decades, man, of just practice and practice and practice to where I couldn't do it wrong. That's not doesn't come overnight. And while the knowledge is there and it comes out, right, like really quick, right? Or, I could sit there and go put my kit on and I won't be quite as spry as I used to be, but yeah, I can still high crawl, low crawl, 3 to 5 second rush correctly. I can still parry left, parry right, butt stroke series, slash, thrust. I can do all that bayonet fighting stuff because we just did it so much that you did it till you weren't going to do it incorrectly, right? Shooting, you know, I can square up. I can shoot from multiple positions that I need to, all understanding that if I'm using an AR-15 or an M16 series platform, yeah, nothing's touching my barrel because it's vibrating. And if I start touching things, it won't vibrate right, and then it throws my round off. I know that. I know when to stop breathing, whether it's on the upswing or downswing or exhale. Inhale, inhale. I know when to stop breathing before I slack off on my trigger, in order to get my follow through and know that I'm going to get first round effects every time, right?
Yeah.
Um, because you're just doing it so much that it's just you're not even thinking about it. It's just you're just doing it right because you don't you train the wrong out of it. And I try explaining guys like that requires man work and patience and just discipline because and the likes of which you can't fathom till you're there. You can't fathom till you're there, man. If you wake up in the morning and you don't feel guilty about not getting a good 30-minute workout in, well, you're missing the point. Yeah, I mean, unless it's your recovery day, okay, now take your recovery day. You got to recover too. I got it. But you know what I'm saying? Like, um, it's what you want to do. And if what you want to do is what you want to do, you got to dedicate yourself to that craft, and you're going
Yep.
to do it till you can't do it wrong. Not do it
Yeah.
till you do it right. That's what amateurs do. Professionals do it till they can't do it wrong, and that's the difference. And I guess a lot of people don't see the work that goes behind all that or understand the dedication, the level of commitment um, that that's essential. But it goes back to when we talk about the other things, like, yeah, expose yourself to new things. It's okay. Fear failure, fear rejection, if you want, it's going to happen. So instead of fearing it per se and allowing
Yeah.
that to influence your decisions about things, how about this? Go, well, what's the worst, like we said, what's the worst thing that can happen? I'll screw it up. Okay, fine. I'll learn from it. I'll get it back at it again. And I'll just keep getting after it and chipping away at it until, I get it done. And then I look back at that long road and go, okay, now I can see, was the effort worth it? Yes or no? So on and so forth. Biggest thing some of the cadets learned with me this year, I'll tell you this, patience. And I told them, like, right now, you wanted to solve a problem. Yeah. But no offense, you can't solve it. I can't solve it. You know who has to solve it? That fish. That fish has a problem. And that fish has to solve that problem. As much as you want to run that fish off or this or that or the other thing, I think anything you do at this point is going to make it worse. So sit back. Let's see what happens. And nine
Yeah.
times out of
No,
10,
it's
what happens is what they want in the first place. That fish realizes this is not the place for me. They put in their punch paperwork. And I never ever, and I tell you guys, don't ever, if somebody was resigned, this is a volunteer organization. I shake their hand, I look them in the eye, I say, good luck. And I mean it.
yeah.
Sorry, it didn't
No,
work
one
out. Good luck.
100%. Yeah. I think it's you know what? Uh I'm really, really glad you brought that up. I guess another really good piece of advice, and I guess if you're into teaching your Psalms class in the fall to to freshmen or whatever,
Mhm.
uh definitely, if they do decide to leave, the Corps of Cadets, for whatever reason, just tell them to do it with dignity. Okay. And what
Right.
what what, what I mean is because it's very, very common. I have seen it almost every year. And quite frankly, it pisses off a lot of people when they do this. is like, hey, like on your way out, I mean, if you were truly wrong, like genuinely, if you were
Right.
like truly wronged and you like,
Hmm.
you have, psychological damage, from what you experienced, say something. Fine. But I think the best way to do that is to first go up to that upperclassman, that person, and talk to them and go, hey, like what you did was messed up or whatever, right? Just like,
Right.
have the balls to look at that
Hmm.
person in the eyes
Sure.
and tell them that. Then
Right.
if they don't want if they don't want to reconcile with you or didn't do anything like that, then you can transition, right? I mean, I would always tell like my freshmen in B2 and even in N1, I was like, hey, if you have a problem with somebody in this outfit, or like if you have a problem with me, if we're doing something that you don't agree with, you need to come let us know.
Sure.
We're not gonna like we are not gonna punish you for asking the why. Like
Right.
I want to tell you the why, and I would always do my best to tell them, hey, this is why we are doing this,
Sure.
right? Because when you provide a actual constructive why, then they're a lot more willing to do what you say,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
But the the big again, you may not agree with me on this. I think a lot of people might disagree with me on this, but I think the biggest, most cowardly thing you can do is just not say anything and just on your way
Oh
out,
no.
like on your way out, throw a frag and say, "Well, he said this, he did this," and then just like cry wolf. No, like
No,
if you,
no. I know what you're saying, but to be honest with you,
yeah,
most of the time when they try to do something like that, and I've only seen a couple times, like, on the exit where they say some stuff, but it's
yeah,
like they're not willing to sign a statement to it. So it's like, okay, well, this won't get investigated. So
yeah,
I just go,
but I
okay,
mean,
whatever. Or even I've
yeah,
had guys like, if this is really bothering you, why aren't you making a formal complaint? Let it be investigated. And if it's true, it's true. Okay, great. If it ain't, then it ain't. And that's why I've always told you guys, like, don't worry about investigation. If you didn't do anything wrong,
yeah,
whatever.
no, I know. It's just. I mean, you gotta understand, like, especially for like for the contracted folks, like a lot is at stake for them, especially because I mean, when you hear the word
These days,
investigation, especially as a contracted guy, you go, oh man, like you fear the worst. I know I did. I mean, I've been,
well,
I've heard that
but
word
it,
several times
but
throughout my time in the Corps.
yeah, well, I would tell you, you'd be surprised, like, things people talk about, but I've been in those meetings, and man, right now these days, shoot, nah. We, brother, we had a guy who was contracted, who was in uniform, drunk at a football game and cussed out his superior. And he got nothing. We threw him out of the Corps. He didn't lose his contract. Like they at first they weren't going to do anything to this guy. And then it was like, hey, everybody in all the adults in the room, because the cadets were supposed to be adults, but they weren't acting like adults. But all the other, obviously, the college staff that were listening to this trivial, this drivel, were like, because they were trying to make every excuse on the planet for this guy. And it was like he was in uniform, publicly intoxicated at a game, and he smuggled booze into the stadium, and he was trying to give it to freshmen. This guy's commissioning to be a lieutenant in the United States Army, right? And you're making excuses for him? And so the commandant, it was Utterbeck, the interim.
Yeah.
He said he's gone, and every PMS on the planet. Well, he's got a contract, and we can do this. Can we just put him on an LOA and blah 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 blah? And Utterbeck said, I don't care what you call it. He's out of the Corps. You don't want to rip up his contract? Far be it from me. I'm only on this job for 1 year, but he's not staying in the Corps. So the commandant drew the line. He's not staying in the Corps. Did the guy commission? Yep. Yes, he did. He commissioned, and he was guilty of all of his bullshit. And then this guy had the temerity. He sat one semester out of the Corps, showed up for spring commissioning with a freaking mustache out of the regs, and he was supposed to wear his alphas for rehearsal because that's when the Army ROTC guys inspect their uniform for commissioning for the graduation for Reed. He showed up in his Ike jacket. Like, that's not an Alpha uniform, dude. That's a Bravo uniform. It's not the Alpha. You're supposed to be wearing your A's, your coat.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I laughed. I laughed like, future lieutenant, boy. I swear to God, let me be his platoon sergeant. I will skull drag that lieutenant every freaking day, dude.
Yeah.
Like, are you
And
kidding me?
I
He
there
didn't.
another
He learned nothing from that. That lieutenant learned nothing from that experience. Which I'm gonna tell you, he's gonna get in the army. He's gonna pull the same crap. There
100%.
it
And
is. There it is.
yeah,
There it is.
it's
That'll be a
not going to
February
fly.
15. No,
No,
that ain't fine.
it's not
Yeah,
going to
yeah,
fly at all. It's not.
yeah.
Because another thing too that I think a lot of people don't, I didn't realize necessarily, at least you hear it and you go, okay, cool. But then you really kind of like wake up to it when you realize, okay, shit, like my consequences actually have like, or my actions have real consequences like that, like matter, right? Like the UCMJ. Corps cadets, hey, look, okay, fine. Somebody tosses a room. It happens. What typically ends up happening to that person? If you really compare the grand scheme of things
He might get
to
silenced for a
college,
little bit.
yeah, okay, fine. College level consequences versus UCMJ. Again,
I know.
if you're gonna mess up, if you're gonna make a mistake, be glad that you did it on the quad and not out there.
Oh yeah.
Truthfully, truth be told.
But
Uh,
but there are some
and
mistakes I think that happen on the quad that probably should have more stringent consequences because
Sure. Yeah. Look, I'm definitely not saying that the quad should be the Wild West. Absolutely not. No, like there's a reason why we have rules in place, there's a reason why we do things. But I think I think I think that people I think if people woke up a little I think people in the quad kind of woke up a little bit more and kind of like sort of if there was a way to kind of understand that like hey, I should probably start rehearsing for like the real world outside of this, then I think maybe that's I think when you start seeing kind of like a decrease in like
well,
incidents.
some do try that. They wanted like like I had an outfit commander. She was like, "Oh, Sergeant Major." She wanted to do all this wazoo, crazy, off the chain uh training stuff. That was just like she's running some type of selection assessment program, right? And I said, okay, well, first of all, what does any of this have to do with the freshman earning core brass? What does this have to do with your PT scores? Oh, by the way, you know that half of your outfit is on profile, lower extremity profile right now. You're hurting them. So what are you doing? I'm training to get ready to be a platoon leader. And I'm like, ma'am, you won't do any of this as a platoon leader. Squad leaders will write their training plans for their squads. The platoon sergeant, you will overlook at those, and you'll look at what falls within the company commander's training guidance, the battalion commander's
Yep.
training guidance, and the brigade commander's training guidance.
Yep.
And then what resources you need to allocate for that, and when and what you need to really. I need to oversee this for safety. I need to do this. I need to do that. Right. I said, man, that's what you're going to do as a platoon leader. What you're not going to do is do gut checks every day on your platoon. It's just you're not going to do that. No one's going to let you do that. Sorry, it doesn't work that way. Okay. And again, none of this has to do with making them a better cadet. You're doing stuff that even most infantry units don't do every day, and you want to do this every day,
Oh
right?
yeah.
And I'm
I
like,
mean, yeah.
what, like, man, what are you doing? And so my point is, um, one of the problems I think that the organization has is number one, understanding what a continuous improving organization is. Number one, what is a continuous improving organization? And number two, it's okay to have an outfit-centered culture. The Army has a lot of that.
Yeah.
But then again, also we have a unifying mission. You know, every company has a mission essential task list. Every battalion has a mission essential task list. Every brigade has a mission essential task list. Every division has a mission essential task list. Okay? Right? And then at platoon level, you have collective and individual high payoff tasks that you got to be that will support those that medal. And so you have this mission. And it's a unified mission. Your culture flows through that. But right now, we have a lot of groups of dudes who have all this culture, and that's great. They don't have a singular mission whatsoever. If you ask them, hey, what's B2's mission? Drink a lot of booze.
No.
But they don't have one. I'm just saying they really don't have one. You ask them, what's your mission? What's B2's mission? And they'll look at you like, I don't know.
Well,
Okay.
I think
And
I,
so
I
and so
think
if you don't have
yeah.
that, or it's not just B2, it's any outfit. Like, what's your outfit's mission? The groups don't have mission, or the group battalion, they don't have a mission. The wing, the brigade, the regiment, they don't have a mission. The Corps has a mission. The Corps commander has a mission. There is a mission statement
Yeah.
for the Corps cadets. But
Yeah.
below that, there is no mission statements. And without that, where's your parameters, man? And so what I say is like, you're right. There's some things that they could start doing now, right? To prepare them for transitioning, whether it's corporate or government service or military service, right? By behaving professionally and being disciplined. And I say all that to say this, to bring you around to this. I find it just so absolutely sardonical, not ironic, sardonical, that guys join a military structured organization that requires discipline and professionalism and selflessness, and they just don't want to act like that. They want to not get haircuts. They want to push the edge of everything. They don't want to wear their uniform, right? And I didn't used to see this my first couple of years, but lately, for the last 4 years, I see more white belts in the hallway and non-regs correcting fish in uniform. I don't see hardly any sophomores in uniform, and if I do, they're mostly in camis.
Yeah, and I mean, and I'll
What's up with that?
yeah.
It's a
Yeah,
it's a
no.
it's a
So
and yet gets so angry at me when I say the Corps is not a military organization. And they look at
yeah,
me like,
unfortunately it's not.
oh, I'm like, it isn't, guy. It's a senior military college. That's it. Under the regulation, it's a senior military college, Title 10. That's it. Now, could it be more military? Yes, but it's on the cadets for that. It's not on me. Just like if tomorrow, if the commandant said, I want you back in camis, or I want you back in Bravos, I want you guys in uniform every day. Okay. They're in my closet, in my office. I have the Army Service blue uniform, the Army Service green uniform. I have OCPs. I have non-regs. I have it all. Whatever you want me to wear, sir. Tell me what you want me to wear. I'll wear it. I don't give a shit. Care. It's just clothes, right? I mean, because the uniform don't make me who I am. I make it. I think I make the uniform. I don't think the uniform
Yeah,
makes me. I think I make the uniform.
for sure. I mean, I think the flip side of that is, and I think this definitely can go for the guys who, who go to class every day in non-regs or, whatever,
Yeah,
like, don't shave their nasty fucking face or go and get a haircut. It's like, hey, like, be proud of yourself in the uniform that you wear, big time. Like,
sure.
I mean, I think it's a stands in the Ranger Creed, that goes, my neatest address, care of equipment,
Yeah.
and
Gallantly will I show the world. I'm specially
yeah,
selected, well-trained soldier. My courage, superior officers, neatness, address, and care of equipment shall set the example for others to follow.
brothers, yeah, exactly, 100. I think that one, and tell you the truth, you can apply that anywhere. It doesn't have to be in the Army, the Marine Corps. It can just be just outside
Oh,
of
I agree.
outside the military. Just, I mean,
Professionalism
it's just the
is
principle.
professionalism.
So
Professionalism,
look,
professionalism.
if you and and if there's any viewers that if you feel called out by this, like, hey man, if you're gonna make a correction to a fish or just anybody in general, like make sure you're fucking squared away, right? If you're a pardon my French, if you're a fucking fat ass, you don't PT, you're not disciplined. Oh,
Yeah,
and like you don't really have like a basic common courtesy or respect to the advisors, your peers, whatever, then get the fuck out. You have no place being in the Corps Cadets nor in the military. It's not for you. You need to figure something out.
Yeah.
So again, I know came across as unprofessional, but it's just the hard truth. If you can't
Well,
if you can't if you can't do the small shit right, then you'll never be able to do the big shit right. Simple as that.
yeah, no, I agree. And it's and again, you join an organization knowing these are the standards, this is the discipline, this is what's expected, right? It's like it's not none of this is hidden. And then you get there and you figure like, well, I shouldn't have to do this anymore because I'm no longer a fish. Those rules don't just apply to fish, they apply to everybody, man. They apply to everybody, right? And more so, I try to tell guys, you know me, the higher, the more rank I had was the less privilege I allowed. The more position and more importance of what I had. And even though I have all these, as a sergeant major, brother, like we have a lot of privilege. But I didn't take any of it because I know my boys are looking at me, man. And they're going to judge me for that shit because I was that guy. I was that young freaking sergeant that would go over and grab the sergeant major's rucksack and pick it up just to see what he was carrying. Because I bet I was betting, like, I bet that old man ain't carrying the fucking packing list. And believe it or not, back in my day, when I was a young huckabuck, most of the sergeants majors I contended with did not carry the packing list. They carried some bullshit in their rucksack, talking all their yang. And I was like, nah, that ain't right. And by the time I became a sergeant, I never forgot that. And I'd always pack to the packing list and a little bit, there's some. I'd always get me a little sandbag or a little MRE bag and fill it about halfway full of sand and tape it up good. So that's a good about 5 to 10 pound weight. And I throw it in the center of my rucksack and pack everything around it so I know it's there and I can't get in it, throw it out. And and yeah, man. And and then I see a guy, I put my ruck down to go over and get some water, or whatever. And I see some guys eyeballing it, and I just tell them, hey, you can pick it up if you want their troop, but here's the deal. If you pick my rucksack up, we're swapping rucksacks. You're going to carry mine, I'm going to carry yours. And a few of them took me up on it. And we had about the same amount of weight. And it was just funny. We just laughed, and they could go tell their buddies, yeah, I carry Sergeant Major Wood's rucksack. It ain't light. He carried my rucksack. And I'm like, yeah, it ain't light either. So I guess the two of us are carrying the packing list. So that's a good deal. And that's the thing
Yeah.
about it, of course, you know this about me. I'm hard as woodpecker lips. But boy, when it comes down to it, though, I'm not inhuman. I'm a person. You can talk to me. I'll listen to you. If
Yeah.
you make a point, I'll acknowledge, hey, that's a good point. You're right. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Or
No,
if I
exactly.
think you're full of shit, I'll say, yeah, you know what? I ain't buying it.
Yeah.
And
No,
that's okay.
I think the biggest thing that people that I'll constantly remind myself like, hey, like it's cool to be hard, it's cool to be physically fit, it's cool to be like, be as tough as woodpecker lips, but you got to be patient, and you got to be human, and you got to understand that you're gonna fuck up, and that your peers and your subordinates are gonna mess up too. So just have a little bit of grace. There's nothing wrong with that, right? The last thing you want to do is to put on this ego, this mask, like, well, it needs to be, perfect. Like, no, that's just not how that works at
No, and
all,
I agree with
right?
you. I agree with you. The ego
So
thing is a big problem. You're not as smart as you think you are. You're not as good as you think you are. You should always humble yourself to that, right? But remember, even if you're not as smart or as fast or strong or as this or that, let me tell you things you can always do. You can always work harder. You can always study more. You can always learn more. You can always push yourself. And I would always tell guys that even when I had a guy that was like, we're here, he's just right here, right? But he's giving me everything he's got. I'll take that guy over a guy with a lot of talent, but he ain't gonna give me everything he's got all the time. He's gonna sandbag on me now and that again. See, that guy's inconsistent. I can't trust that guy. Got talent, but he's inconsistent. This guy's gonna give me everything. Okay, fine, I'll take him because I'll get more out of him. I trust myself as a leader. I'm gonna get more out of him. I'm gonna get the very best out of him that he can ever possibly give anybody, and that'll be good enough. And I'll deal with it because I know he's going to give me all he's got, and that's important. That's more
yeah,
important than having all this talent. More
absolutely.
important.
Absolutely. Because you can always teach talent and skill, but you cannot once you come to a certain age, I mean, you're old, I mean, you're older. I mean, I'm sure you know this better than I do. Once you come to a certain age, you kind of are the way you are,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Unless
yeah.
unless if there's a whole, big schism, right? Like this whole change that you endure, that you you apply to yourself. Otherwise, you kind of are the way you are,
Something,
right?
yeah,
So
well, that's something really, you're right. Dramatic, drastic. You endure it, you survive it, and it somehow changes your psyche. Sure, absolutely. You just kind of who you are. Yeah, yeah. No, I think by the time you, definitely by the time you get out of college, you're who you are. You're
yeah,
not, there's not much there,
yeah,
different. I mean, when I say, it's all good. That's fine. That's fine. Um, the things that changed me fundamentally, having kids, made me a father, changed my mindset, started realizing there certain ways could go bad, real quick. So maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe I should take less risks and so on. But not take no risks. Like, there's times you gotta still push it. You gotta put it out there. But all that being said, yeah, no, I agree with you on that. But again, get rid of the ego, understand and learn, and then don't sit there and say, well, I want to learn. Okay, but yet you don't do what you need to do to learn, right? I want to do this, but yet you don't do what you need to do that. Come on, man. You don't really want to do that then. You're just playing lip, you're just telling people what they want to hear, right? You're just playing lip service. If you really are dedicated, you really want to do this, you really want to do that, you got to sacrifice. That's it. You got to push it out and you got to understand it's a process. And it's going to take as long as it takes. Some people get it quicker, some people take even longer than you. That it is what it is. You deal with it. And that's that. And then your long vision is back where you started, now where you're at. And take a measure of that. Like there's why you did what you did. There's why you dedicated what you dedicated to. And no matter what people will say, like, um, you know, I saw it with the guys in the army, that were the leftovers from Vietnam that stayed in. Um, that a lot of them were retired, but like we had a lot of the, that kind of stayed. They're okay. They had a lot of problems with understanding, their war and this and that and the other thing. And was it worth it? Was it this? Was that? Finding meaning and all that shit. For me and my guys, the GWAT guys, you know, we all reconciled ourselves like it was a shit war. I mean, we're going out to get a pound of flesh from the Afghanis because the bullshit plot and the 9/11 attacks in their country. Saddam's giving us the finger, so we're going to go get him and take care of those jackasses and fight these these idiots over there versus fighting them in our backyard, right? Whatever. I don't care about what is a master. I don't care about any of that. That's all ancillary noise. Let me tell you what it means to me. And the moment and the time that I was on the street with my brothers, left and right, front and back, and we're all dealing with it. We're dealing with the casualties, we're dealing with the losses, we're dealing with the fights, we're dealing with the destruction, we're dealing with the things that we have to deal with, and we're getting the missions done. We're kicking ass because that's what you do when you go to war,
yep,
right? And I don't care what historians write about GWAT, about OIF, OND, OEF, OND. I don't care. I don't care. I know that the guys I fought alongside with, the guys I walked the streets with, the guys I got into firefights with, and the guys that I had to put in body bags and haul out of there and get them to the casualty collection point, back in the green zone, you know, that's what I did it for. Those cats and those formations I was in. That's it. For the fidelity of that. And anything else, I don't give a shit. I don't care. It's irrelevant to
yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah. Well said, Sergeant Major. Yeah, 100%. And I think, I mean, I have personally never ever been to combat. I've never ever deployed, but I think, I think I will truly kind of, you know, uh, fully agree and fully understand, kind of what in your gen, are talking about whenever it's our turn, to do
Oh
our
yeah.
job. You know,
No, Force, it'll come down to brass tacks. It's with the Marine to your left and right. That's who you're
yep,
doing it for. Not anything
100%.
else. That's it. And that's all you need. That's all you need to know that you did that faithfully and that's it. And you did and you weren't complacent and that's all. And that's all you need. That's more than enough. And anybody else can sit on their high horse and talk armchair quarterback it, and all I want is like, yeah, shut up. Your opinion's of no value to me, bro. I don't give a shit. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
But keep writing them books.
yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
anyway, but anyway, it was great talking to you, man. I
Yes,
think
sir. You as
we got
well.
plenty, and I'll get it all edited up together and put some things in different places, but then I'll transition it. I think it'll come out pretty good.
Yeah, I think so too. I seriously appreciate the opportunity, Star Major. This is
Yeah,
great. I think I don't know, man. I think a lot of people should not really be afraid to, to come out, and to talk to you and just to kind of just share their experiences too. I mean, like, I know I listened to your podcast a
yeah,
couple times. I know I saw the one with freaking, Gunny Cheatham, you call him Scuba
yeah,
Steve.
yeah.
Yeah, great,
That's my
great.
boy.
Yeah, yeah, great podcast. So you definitely tell him I said, I said hello next time you see him on the
Oh
quad.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
But all right, man. Well, hey, have a merry late Christmas, happy New Year to you, and then just
Yep.
keep in touch, man. Yeah, just keep sending me stuff on Instagram.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, man.
All
All right,
right.
y'all
I'll
take it
see you
easy.
around,
All
Sergeant
right.
Major.
Okay.
Later.
Bye.